So it's Timmy in here with Member of Parliament for Bain and Grandstand, and my goodness, 22 years old. Congratulations.
Thank you, man.
So Travis, this show I always like to talk about culture and passion. What drove you to want to ascend to this type of height? 'Cause this is history. So, but there's some steps you have to take. What did you do to say, you know what? Yes, this has never been done before, but I'm going to be the one to break this last season. What was the passion behind you?
Well, there's a quote that says, "Do not go where there is a path. Go instead where there is no path and leave a trail." For many years, young people have been sold this dream or this belief that traditionally you have to do things as it is alignment of what has already been done. But I've always been that person to defy the odds. I've always been that person to speak up against tradition. And so my plight into politics was that of me, one, being a young community activist, knowing exactly what it is that the people of my community wanted, what they needed, and simply going out there chasing my dream because we often put limitations on young persons like myself and yourself simply because of tradition. And I'm not a traditionalist. And I am of the firm belief that when you have a goal, you have a dream, you simply go after it.
So you gave me my award and won the Elevation Awards for who that for, and as you know, the who that is basically about who the artist is, why they do it. So, but to you, I know you did tourism in school. You also were the junior minister of tourism. Why tourism, and how do you think what we do, culture, music, art, how can we combine to, how can we use this rich Bahamian culture, and use it as a way to get tourists to our beautiful country?
Well, one of the things about tourism that we must understand is that no longer are visitors coming to our country merely for sun, sand, and sea. Right about now, almost every country in the Caribbean have sun, sand, and sea. But what separates us from other countries in the Caribbean is that of our hospitality and that of our culture, the way we speak, the way we act, the food we cook. Those are just, some examples of the culture that no other Caribbean country can do like us. And it is very important that we as a Bahamian public understand the power of culture because when people travel, whatever reason it will be, is because of the demographics or the culture of that particular country. To shoot a movie, individuals travel to California because of the sun, because of the structure of the buildings, the road, highways. For weddings, people travel based upon the scenic view that they want, whether it be waterfall, whether it be uh, um, Indian background or Africa. And so our culture here in the Bahamas is one that we must be able to embrace, especially when you talk about Junkanoo. No other country in the world can boast of Junkanoo or doing Junkanoo as we can do it in our country. When you talk about theater, culture through performance, we have been able to produce some of the world's leading actors. When you take instance of Sidney Poitier,
First black man to win an Oscar.
absolutely Bahamian. And so it speaks mammoth volumes to the fact that the we have the talent in our country. It's just now up for government to create the opportunities, to put the financial backing behind individuals like yourself. And let me congratulate you once again for winning your award. I think that's a huge statement to young people everywhere that once you put your mind to something and you're determined to do it, that the end result will be success. And so I congratulate you and your entertainment and what you do for that.
Thank you for that. And people don't think tourism is just for international. You also have domestic tourism, and I don't do what I do just because to get the people outside the Bahamas to help. I want people who in the Bahamas to appreciate what they want to do. So, what can we do as people in our positions to let the Bahamians also know, hey, this ain't just for tourists. Just for you, you can get more involved in our own culture, And like as simple as the Exumas, the Lutras, the Bimini's, a lot of our islands that people don't go to. Like me, I'm my next vacation probably to Exuma, but we have to start thinking about people come here why we can't enjoy our own country.
Yeah. It starts with an appreciation for what we have and who we are as a people. Oftentimes we take for granted that because Exuma or Long Island or Abaco is just a few minutes away, it's not a vacation. It's not tourism. When in reality, it actually is. You know, and in the Bahamas, every island is unique and specific for that particular aspect or culture that it exudes. And so I think when you begin to drill down on the various aspects, for example, you would have the blue holes. I think is in Long Island, Dean's Blue Hole. Those are aspects and various cultural aspects that people travel millions and millions of gallons of waters and seas to come and see. And we take for granted simply because it's a few minutes away. You know, and so we've got Defying ways, as you mentioned, to encourage domestic travel, because when international visitors slow down, domestic travel is what keeps tourism going. Many people don't see it as such, but when you jump up one morning and say, "Oh, I'm going to Exuma for a regatta," or "I'm going Long Island for a regatta," you're actually participating in domestic tourism. But we don't see it as such. We see it as we're going to this event. And so, yeah, like you mentioned, it's very important.
And before we let you go, just anything you'd like the people to know, because you're in this position now, you came here to try to make a difference. What do you want to see? What do you want to see change? What do you want Travis to remember for in this arena?
Mhm. Well, Travis L. Robinson will be remembered as an unapologetically young, black, educated Bahamian male. And I say that because one word, unapologetic, you know. We as young people have been for so many decades apologetic for being young. The time for that is over, you know. We, some of the most talented people we have in this country are young people who boast the experience, the energy, and the vision enough to take various ministries and aspects of our society to the next level. But one hindering factor, they are young,
Too young.
you know. And I'm always puzzled about where that concept come from, where that notion, that ideal come from. But I hope that my undertaking have allowed a number of young people to break free from the chains of youth, from that boundary, that one thing that they thought was hindering them. And so Travis will be remembered as that young man who stood up against all odds. And because of God's grace and His mercy, because of God's favor on my life, I was able to overcome those challenges and all those obstacles. And I do say that this is just the beginning. We have a lot of work ahead. I'm optimistic about the future prospects for being in Grand Sound, tourism industry, and the country as a whole.